Hi guys, welcome back to the Art of Server. So this is a follow-on video to the three-part series that I had just released regarding the hybrid desktop PC server build. And at the end of that series, I had mentioned to you guys that I was really curious about doing something about the fan control for the chassis when the server is on while the desktop system is off. The fans would run at maximum speed, which was good for cooling, but did generate a little bit of excess noise. And so I had mentioned that that could be remedied with an additional fan controller, and that's exactly what I have here today. So I want to do a little unboxing for you guys, and then we're going to talk about how I'm going to use this in that machine, and we're going to take a couple of measurements to see if we are able to successfully reduce the fan noise. So to begin with, this is the Noctua NA-FC1, and it is basically a fan controller. So let's take a look inside here. So that's the fan controller in there. There's a user manual up on top here. So there's a message to the customer, overview of all the accessories and parts. Looks like there's quite a few things included in here. I don't think we need all of that. And then it talks about the various modes and features of this device here. All right, so that's the fan controller. So it's this tiny little thing here that you would basically intercept the PWM signal. I believe, yeah, you have to connect this to the motherboard, and yeah, well, hold on, let me look at the cables to be sure. But all right, so anyway, there's a little dial here. There's some LEDs that kind of indicate the various modes that are working. There's a button, a push button right here, and there's a dial in the middle that allows you to manually control the PWM signal. All right, so in the box there are a bunch of additional cables. So this, I believe, is the cable to let's see, I think this goes in here. Okay, so yeah, this is the input signal. So you would connect this to the motherboard to get the PWM signal from the motherboard. And this side, you have to connect to a SATA power to get power to power on this device. All right, in addition to that, there looks like a fan splitter. So if you wanted to control multiple fans with this device, you can. Up to 3, I think. But we're not going to need that because we already have a fan hub in the Phanteks case. And this looks like just an extension. Yeah, so that's just a fan header extension. Now, in addition to that, as you know, I've pretty much maxed out all the SATA power connections in the Phanteks case. And so I'm going to need an additional splitter. And so we'll basically split off probably the power from the SSDs to power on this fan controller. All right, so let me go set up the camera. I'll probably handhold the camera so you guys can see how the fan hub is currently connected. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to add this fan controller to that fan hub and to then connect it to the motherboard and all that. So, and then afterwards we'll boot up the system, and then we'll take a couple measurements with that sound meter that I have right here. Same one as last time. And we'll see what the noise level is with this additional controller involved. All right, guys, before we get into it, do me a favor and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm so more people can benefit from this video. Also, if you are into server building and you like this sort of stuff, consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss my next videos. All right, let's get into it. All right, guys, so here is the right side of the Phanteks case, and let me just kind of refresh your memory a little bit, but right here we have a fan hub that controls all the fans. These three are the three front fans, and there's one more for the rear fan. And if you take a close look at this, there is this wire right here that I'm holding right now that goes right along here and over to the motherboard. That goes to the motherboard chassis fan header, and that's what controls this fan hub. So when this signal, the signal that comes through this wire, goes away when the desktop machine is suspended or shut down, the fan hub is still getting power because well, it's getting power if the server is on, because that's powered through the SATA plug down here. Then all these fans spin at maximum speed. And so what we're going to try to do is intercept this PWM signal from the motherboard with that Noctua controller. I'm probably going to have to install the fan controller over here somewhere, because I'm going to basically pull this wire back from the motherboard. I'm going to disconnect it from the motherboard, plug this into the Noctua fan controller, and then plug the Noctua fan controller into the motherboard. And I'm going to get power, hopefully from down here. I think I'm going to split this SATA power right here and use that to power on the Noctua fan controller. So let me go to the other side and show you where that cable is currently plugged in. All right, so here we are on the left side of the chassis, and see if I can get in there, show you guys. But the that fan cable from the fan hub is right there, and it goes down over here to, there's two fan headers down there. All right, so I'm holding a flashlight with my other hand, so hopefully the camera can focus on that. But yeah, so that is the PWM header on the motherboard that I'm using for that fan hub right now, but I'm going to disconnect that and basically intercept that signal with the Noctua controller. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down and unplug that, and we're going to install that Noctua controller. All right, so this is that cable that I just unplugged from the motherboard, and this is the one that's connected to the fan hub. And so I'm going to insert that into the Noctua controller here. And let's see, yep, it fits this way, I believe. Okay, so the Noctua controller is now going to be the one sending the signal to the fan hub in the Phanteks case, and the Noctua is going to get a PWM signal from the motherboard, which is going to come from this connector that's going to go onto the motherboard. I'm going to put that underneath after I figure out how I'm going to power this thing. So let's see, I think I'm going to leave this down here somewhere. Hopefully that's all right. 1 second. Let's see if there's enough length of cable for me to put that here. But all right, let me just kind of tuck that over to the other side, and I'm gonna go get the SATA splitter. Okay, so I'm a little concerned about whether there's enough cable here, because I'm probably gonna have to install this fairly high up for this cable that goes to the motherboard to reach. So I'm hoping that will be long enough, but then I have to power it from down here. So all right, let's just give this a try here. So I'm going to unplug one of the SSDs here and plug this in there, and see. All right. Okay, yeah, I think this will be enough. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I should be able to close this. and then I can adjust this. There's plenty of cable length here for the power for me to adjust this as necessary. So I'm basically going to just go back to the other side of the machine and plug the that cable to the PWM header on the motherboard. It's a real tight spot, so I'm not going to be able to record that, but you guys, I think you get the idea. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, so I just wanted to kind of show you the final result. I plugged it in and made some adjustments to the length, and this is kind of where that controller ended up hanging. And so you can see there was plenty of power cord to go down to this area where I have that splitter hidden under behind this panel. So this is where I think I'm just going to leave this controller. There's enough room back here for me to still close the glass panel here, like that. And since that is a manual controller, I guess if I ever need to adjust it, I can simply open up this window and adjust this dial as necessary. So anyway, just want to show you guys what that looks like. I think that's going to be its final resting spot, so just wanted to show you what that looks like. All right, let's go ahead and power on this machine now. All right, guys, so I've got the machine booted up and I'm logged into the machine right now. It's pretty much at idle. I'll go ahead and open up a terminal. We'll monitor top. But basically, you'll see that there really isn't much going on here. So yeah, load is at 0.18 right now. Let me add some color to that, and I'll speed up the frequency to every second. But basically, the system is idle right now, and this is with the Noctua fan controller intercepting the motherboard PWM signal to the fan hub right now. And so I'm going to retake the noise level measurement with just the desktop running right now. The server's currently powered off at the moment. All right, so here's the decibel meter, and I'm going to hold it about a foot away from the left side panel, and I'm going to shut up. All right, so it was hovering around 37 decibels. But anyway, desktop only, it's about 37 decibels. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn on the server side. All right, so I have the desktop still on. I switched over to the monitor to the server, and the server's booting up right now. So with the server running and the desktop running, it's registering about 40 decibels. All right, so the server's on. I can obviously connect to it. It's running TrueNAS, and the desktop system is relatively idle at this point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to suspend the desktop. And in the previous video when I did that, the PWM signal from the motherboard goes away, and the fan hub for the Phanteks case would then spin all the fans at maximum, and we were reading about 5 decibels more, so about 45 decibels. So now with the Noctua controller intercepting that signal, I'm hoping it's not going to spin the fans at 100% when I suspend the computer. So let me go ahead and issue the command. So I'm going to go ahead and suspend the desktop right now. Okay, so with the desktop suspended, the fan speed is ramped up to about 45, or the fan speed is ramped up, generating about 45 decibels. actually 46. And this is what we observed last time as well. But now I'm going to go to the back and turn. I have the dial on the Noctua fan controller set to maximum. So I think it's just taking the maximum, PWM signal right now. And so I'm going to try to dial that down a little bit and see if we can get this down to maybe about 40 decibels. All right, so here is the Noctua controller. And this green indicator light there's a, what do they call it? Non-stop mode. And when that green LED is on, that means non-stop mode is on. And all that means is that as the PWM signal coming out of this controller goes up and down, if it notices that the fans stop or fall below 300 RPM, it's going to boost the signal and it will prevent the fans from basically stopping. And so you can turn that off if you want to by pressing this button here. You'll see that the green light is now gone. And so in this case, the signal can go all the way down to the point where your fans might actually end up stopping. And so if that's not desirable for you, press this button. And I think this is the default mode right now. At least when it powers up, this green light is almost always on. And so, and I don't know if it has memory or not. In terms of if you power it off, the next time it powers on, will it remember that setting? I don't know if that's the case. I don't think so, actually, because every time I power this on, that seems to be on. But anyway, I'm going to leave that on because I don't want the fans to ever stop, since I have two systems in here. And if I have both systems powered off, this thing is going to lose power anyway. So anyway, this orange LED here is the brightness of that LED is an indicator of the position of this center dial. So right now I kind of have it at max, and so it should be a bright orange right now. But you'll notice if I turn this all the way down, I'm turning it basically all the way to the other other side, and so now you can see that the orange light is completely off. And so that's probably the slowest speed. So I had it at max earlier. We were still getting about basically 46 decibels, but I'm going to go ahead and dial this, let's say somewhere around 70% ish. It's not, obviously not very precise. So, but this here would be the middle. I'm going to go a little bit above the middle, not all the way to max. All right, so let's see how that affects the fan noise. All right, so I've got the Noctua controller dialed down to about 70%-ish. So it's reading about 40 decibels right now, maybe 41-ish, somewhere between 40 and 41. And that's with the desktop suspended and the server still running. And this is with the Noctua controller dialed to about 70%-ish. Let me wake up. I'm going to leave the Noctua controller at 70%-ish, whatever that is. And I'm going to wake up the desktop computer so it'll take over that signal. And let's see what the noise level is then. All right, so I've got the desktop running again, and I'm going to take a measurement of the noise level. So it's reading about 39 to 40. So with the Noctua control set to about 70%-ish, basically the amount of noise coming out of this machine with the desktop on versus with the desktop off and the server on is roughly the same. It's roughly about 39, 40, 41-ish. And so, oops. So I think that basically gets the results we want. With the Noctua controller, we're basically able to modulate the fans enough so that even when the system's suspended, we're basically at the same noise level. So yeah, so anyway, if you guys are building this type of system and you want a way to address that fan, it's actually not quite that annoying. The 45 decibels, I mean, that's still pretty quiet to me. But if that bothered you and you wanted to bring it down to about 40 decibels, or where it would be with just the desktop on, or the desktop and server on at the same time, then definitely I think using the Noctua fan controller can help you accomplish that. Now, I don't have any measurements in terms of temperature. Obviously, we slowed down the fans a bit, but I think running the fans at max when only the server is running and the desktop is off or suspended is too much anyway. I don't suspect that there's going to be much problem. There's plenty of airflow. I can feel quite a bit of air flowing through this chassis when I put my hand in front or in the back. So I think it's going to be fine. If I notice any problems, I'll report that back to you guys, but I don't suspect that there will be any problems. I haven't really used this machine, or my son hasn't really used this machine long term yet, so we're going to have to kind of see how it goes. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. So yeah, I think this is a good addition to this build in terms of addressing the fan noise. So anyway, hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to give me that thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel and you like this sort of stuff, consider subscribing. Also, if you want to support my channel, go check out my eBay store. I've got the best selection of pre-flashed IT mode HBA SAS controllers for your TrueNAS, ZFS, or Unraid builds. So go check out the link down in the video description. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and have a great day. Bye-bye.